RLO Masters has already kicked off with a great quarterfinals, not just in this first one, not just in Cringe Society versus Mindfreak, but across the board already. It really is shaping up to be a big monthly final next Tuesday, Max.
Yeah, and the most disappointing thing, I feel like, is we're not even going to know our full 8 teams when we come into it. 7 of them have been secured, but with that 3-way tie break, not sure when it's going to happen, but that will determine the 8th team. I mean, when you can't end things in regulation, it's always more exciting. It's why overtimes are great, game 5s are great, so things will be rolling on. But for this last monthly, obviously, majors, monthly finals around the corner, there still is seeding and bragging rights on the line, and that's what these remaining teams are going to be playing for.
Yeah, the seeding is definitely important, again, especially with, well, not just Renegades, but potentially Mindfreak in that tiebreaker. Those are teams you don't want to be versing first round in the monthly final. And at this point in time, we might see the likes of Attack of the Invisible Ninja in the 7th seed. So another team you could potentially want to avoid. So maybe even you want to come through as the 3rd seed at this point. Who knows?
Yeah, it's interesting because I haven't really thought about 7-6, but I feel like with the results, Fenrir is now tied, I'm pretty sure, with Invisible Ninja. And then Process also could be in that 3-way tie as well. So we could be looking at 2 3-way ties to really determine who is going where. I think the safest situation in a lot of these events is just win. If you always win your matches, then you have nothing to worry about, right?
Yeah, I mean, the likes of Ground Zero and Direwolves are going to be happy, and we have to look at that. Let's have a look at the bracket. They have to be happy with whatever bracket they get. But there's a problem in Paradise right now. Direwolves got 3-0'd by Invisible Ninja, which totally means that that grand final was not a fluke. They have been secured as, or Invisible Ninja have secured themselves as a potential top team. They also almost beat Ground Zero today before a reverse sweep and maybe a throw or 2 here or there by Invisible Ninja. So they are definitely here to play.
Yeah, and I mean, Cringe Society, they didn't look perfect in their series against Mindfreak, and if Ninjas are firing on all cylinders, this could be a tough matchup for the Cringe Society side, and another chance for the Ninjas to sort of establish themselves perhaps as one of the top 5, top 4 team front runners. Taking a quick look at our lineups right here. No crazy substitutes. Each of these teams, they will be playing at full strength.
We haven't seen the substitutes come out from either of these guys for a long time, and we are expecting great things. They're both secured already in the top 8, but you know, a top 2 for both of them, very important. Invisible Ninja, sure, they got the RLCS top 2, but in the RLO Masters, they haven't had the same performance. Cringe Society as well, the best they done was the 3rd, 4th, where they lost to Team Process, and both of them will be looking to get into that prize money. Only one of them can make it.
Yeah, I feel like there's also a little bit more on the line, at least emotionally, in this type of situation for Cringe Society. I mean, obviously, it's not the main event, but you still want to, at least prove it to yourself. Prove that this lineup still can make those top 2 and even possibly winning situations. They just haven't had that success yet, and once again, they're in a prime position to pull it off against a team that you have to believe they feel they should be winning. I feel pressure might be on this Cringe Society side right now, and I'm sort of waiting for them to step up and get that top 2 or even that top 1 finish.
It was still a really interesting series in the last one in terms of the Cringe Society performance. I really expected them to put out more, and it wasn't until that game 5 that I felt we saw what Cringe Society could offer. But is that enough to take down somebody as hot as Invisible Ninja are right now?
Look, all I'm going to say is Invisible Ninja seems to be doing a bit better than Camera Havoc was, and that's a scary sign moving forward as Spydoge, off of that kickoff, tries to get some pressure going. Drippe was able to get back in time. Walcott as well, keeping that attacking pressure there, but the Cringe Society defense does what it does, and they eventually clear it past midfield.
And the great thing about Camera Havoc has just been Spydoge coming back into form. That's what he did all over the weekend. Leduc was there to support him. I've been backing Walcott on this team for quite a while now. And now he has a full 3-man roster joining forces. And Spydoge today, even earlier on against Ground Zero, still looked to be doing well. Leduc was still scoring his goals. So maybe not just a one weekend only performance in RLCS.
I think getting into the top 4 and getting that 3-0 over Direwolves definitely did prove that it was not a one weekend only. However, this semifinal not off to the start that they necessarily want. Deca is the player who strikes first.
Yeah, nice one from Deca. Gets a solid strike on this one, but most importantly finds that angle behind the defender. And an early lead again for Cringe Society after getting the first goal against Mindfreak as well.
And credit to Drippe on that one. He did get in Spydoge's way, and when you get in the playmaker's face and causes him to hesitate, it's only going to increase your odds moving forward.
And a chance for a second goal here as well for Cringe Society. But something that Canberra Havoc and now Invisible Ninja have always been good at is holding on a defense, reeling teams in, and then getting a counterattack. So you always have to worry. It always seems so scary to be in a position where all 3 members are pushed up against that Invisible Ninja defense. But now it's a breakaway the other end. Jules just needs to get that in.
No!
And he doesn't. He doesn't get contact whatsoever. It'll come off the post.
That feels like such a missed opportunity right there. I mean, it won't get much more open than that moving forwards. Yet, to go back to your previous point, and something I find interesting, with the way how sort of Cringe Society has been approaching the game, more so in 2021, as you mentioned, with their more defense style, it almost feels like 2 teams are going to want to do that same thing in sort of baiting their opponents forward. So I do expect that as the series progresses, we're going to see a fair few breakaways like that from Jules, and it's going to be the team that capitalizes on them that winds up taking the series.
I do worry a lot here because Cringe Society have had 3 good chances, 3 really good opportunities that they've missed out on so far. And I've seen that happen a lot against Invisible Ninja. They get given, or they give away a lot of opportunities early on. They don't get sunk. And then a couple of sneaky goals out of nowhere completely reverses a game or even a series.
That said, though, credit to the Cringe Society and not really giving the Invisible Ninjas their opportunities just yet. Granted, only halfway through this game, so still plenty of time, and that 1 goal cushion is definitely not one you want to be sleeping on. You want to get a bit more fluff behind it, and speaking of fluff, duck feathers, they usually do quite well, as he will try to press that one forward. Ball does get to the corner before Deca shuts it down.
And now Deca going for the solo play, a surprise! Actually fakes it underneath, but the thing that I've still noticed is missing from Deca's play. He needs to be able to threaten those flip resets, and they're not coming out consistently yet. He doesn't even attempt them too often. And while you don't need to be able to flip reset to be a good player, you do need to at least be able to threaten it in order to fake that defense in that situation. That was what costed him, the fact that they knew that he wasn't going to get it.
Spido's threatening a reset as if on point right there. Doesn't really connect. It was kind of more of a ceiling shot either way. Ball's been staying for a good while in that corner. Eventually it does start to break out. Walcott doesn't really center it as much as I would expect. Finally it does get centered, but with no attacker there, Drippe actually might turn this to that counterattack. Spidoge off the backboard, though, will slow things down.
Spidoge and Walcott working well together, but Ladakh is left alone. Walcott staying behind that ball to keep it away from danger. Deca has been a fiend in the attack, really dogging the defense at the moment. And he's still absolutely causing carnage as he was also going for the bumps. It gets turned around, but not much boost here on Invisible Ninja to actually make a play.
And we still haven't seen that sustained ninja attack yet, or really any true threatening counterattack plays. Walcott nearly has it there. Deca able to get underneath, and it still feels like, even though, yes, both defenses have been playing admirably, I feel that Cringe Society have been a little bit more aggressive. They've created more opportunities for themselves, and it's reflected in that 1-0 lead.
Spidoge, another good pass to Dark. There's good connections coming out from Ninja, but it's not working when Cringe Society aren't pushing up too hard. They're willing to chill out here with 10 seconds left, and maybe even 10 seconds before they take game 1. And it looks very likely here, 5 seconds left, and still Cringe Society in attack, and that's one more just to secure the first game.
Yeah, that's gotta feel good to see Cringe Society get a little aggressive at the tail end of it all. Drippe really did a good job on that challenge right there, but for Deca to somehow stay underneath that ball and actually put that on target, that was a very impressive goal. A little bit of a shame it didn't really mean too much more in terms of the standings of that game, but Deca's gotta feel good with that strike.
It's a confidence thing for Decker, and he's a confidence player. Even though I over-talk about that a bit too much, so you got to ham on about something every now and again. You can't come up with new things to say every week.
Well, what I want to ham on about right now is that 7-shot to 2-shot difference between these two teams after game number 1. And for Cringe Society, like in that last series where they were forced to play defensively largely throughout it all, to come out with a bit more of an aggressive style than Attack of the Invisible Ninja and yet still find that victory, it kind of tells me that Cringe Society right now are looking like the more balanced team.
It's not surprising, though, to see Invisible Ninja have a lot less shots. Obviously, 2 is very telling. But the thing that impressed me about the big run of Invisible Ninja was the fact that it didn't rely on just counterattacks, just playing defense, just frustrating your opponent, just making your own luck. They were actually able to get on attack. They were able to get some really good demos as well. So even though you don't have to worry so much if they don't have too many shots, because they're normally getting good counters, I do feel like it's not replicating how they played to actually win the entire thing on the weekend.
And I feel like when they do create that offensive pressure, surprisingly enough, sometimes it comes from those bumps and demos out of Leduc and sort of those weird angles that he can approach the ball or the defender at. And he was relatively silent game number 1. Spidosh almost gets that goal right there.
What? I don't even know what happened. It bounced off 3 different players, hit the crossbar, and somehow worked out for Cringe Society in that one. So, I mean, we need an instant replay feature, really. We'll never actually know what exactly happened there. And Cringe Society, they get away with another one. Invisible Ninja, I think it was Spidosh, missed the net.
The good teams always get the breaks, it feels like. That's just something that transcends all sports right now, and unfortunately for the Invisible Ninja, they can't find their lucky break just yet. Walcott will play through that corner, looks to connect with someone across the middle, instead only finds Deca. Shot was on target, but Spidos was able to keep it up in the air.
As I said, the stakes on the line for Invisible Ninja. The questions are whether they can have a back-to-back performance like they did on the weekend. It seems to be different. Seems to be a little bit off. And Cringe Society still getting a lot of pressure, but it's still a 0-goal game. And just saved out once again by Spidosh, but Walcott and Spidosh getting confused there on top of each other and even bumping out of the way before Walcott gets it to the other end.
So many near misses already in game 2. Both teams looking a little bit sloppy on offense and defense, but I feel that's coming from these high pressure situations. To quote one son of Jupiter, the panic mechanics almost seem out in full bore for each of these sides. That's kept the scoreline at 0 apiece right now, almost halfway through game number 2.
And that was a really bad touch from Jules. It almost opened up, but a spectacular save from Drippe. Well, keeper scores tied. And this, though, has made it awkward. Jules, don't go for that one. Don't. Spidosh will get it past Jules as he dives past and will get the first one on the board for Invisible Ninja.
Drippe and Jules. I mean, that was essentially the 3 strikes you're out right there. All 3 members of Cringe Society had a chance to clear that ball out as Spidos was just sort of knocking it up and dribbling it to himself throughout it all. That is a goal that probably should not have happened, yet Attack of the Invisible Ninja, they'll take that. They'll go up 1-0, and off of the reset, Spidos nearly gets a second.
I can at least give something away there for Jules as Walcott sinks this one in. Is that Jules, if you have your teammates challenging, you want to back up that challenge and you have that pressure on yourself that they forced out a play, so you want to go for it. It was a mistake there. In this play, though, it was just beauty from Spidosh.
Yeah, Spidosh making it happen. Now off the kickoff, Leduc is going to jump into the speeding frenzy as well. 3 goals in the past, 10 seconds after a scoreless first half. Canberra Havoc blowing game 2 out of the water.
I love to see Leduc getting in on the action too, and the kickoff's going the way Invisible Ninja. And it does also raise questions. Wasn't Mindfreak having a good kickoff in the last one, or is it just Cringe Society having the rough kickoff, especially when it kind of just freezes there in the middle over the kickoff line?
I still want to say it's a little bit of both right now, but you can't ignore the success that both of these teams have had against Cringe Society, at least at this stage of the game. Just under 2 minutes left, and interesting dynamics. Like, it's been a almost complete turnaround from what we saw in game number 1 as Psyonix continues to add to this lead. Only 3 shots have been taken from Cringe Society thus far.
That is another nice pass over the top of the defense. Spido's just waiting in the wings to receive that one. And, well, game 1, it was actually pretty close. Final goal to get a 2-goal lead at the last second. Didn't really separate everything from that one, but this one, a dominating performance so far from Invisible Ninja.
And it just comes to show what Invisible Ninja can do if they get those opportunities. Spydosh in particular looking very much on form and absolutely able to capitalize. And going back to game 1, they just weren't able to get those initial opportunities. But now that they've been able to find them through the demo game, through the bump game, and through the kickoff game, Invisible Ninja definitely looks like the stronger team at the present.
It's also just their passing has been on form as well. You get these passes that are crisp towards each other, very fast, difficult to play off of. Another good angle that Jules almost hits the montage reel for, but again, falls short. A triple commit from Canberra Havoc, Invisible Ninja. Shouldn't really cost them, but it is still funny to see.
As we hit our final 45 seconds, we will have ourselves that proper series. No sweeps today. As Walcott looks to put another shot on Drippe from up above, will clear it to safety and now looks to go the distance. 4 goals though, 33 seconds. I'm not really a believer in this situation.
Yeah, especially the situation that Cringe are in right now in terms of their defense. They've still got members of Invisible Ninja looking for demos, looking for pumps. Not at the other end, and Spydosh, I thought he was going to be able to save that one, but it was just pure class here for Drippe.
As we watch this once more, a nice redirect to go opposite corner, and Spydosh, he probably, I'm assuming he didn't have boost in that situation, otherwise I feel like you'd be trying to bump it up and above on that backboard, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe he thought that it was wide. Interesting to see Spydosh kind of stay underneath it, not make any attempt whatsoever. But again, doesn't make too much of a difference here. Though Pod Walcott could lead to one more goal. As maybe just a bit of a consolation prize here. Jules has missed it. So even that consolation goal isn't going to happen. And Invisible Ninja, well, they've tied up the series.
That they have one apiece and looking pretty good that second game around when you pretty much, what is it? So that is 13 shots. So over 400% more shots being taken in game number 2 than game number 1. Yeah, that's usually a sign that things are starting to turn around for you. And we go back to sort of that ability to be able to capitalize on those moments given to you, being able to finish those plays. Well, Attack of the Invisible Ninja, they showed that they have the ability to do so, and if they can continue to make those plays, Cringe Society might be able to, or might continue to be stuck on that back foot.
And this game too looked a lot more like that impressive performance we saw, where they were getting on attack, they were getting demos, they were being confident, and they were striking well. I'm actually starting to worry about the competition here. They've already taken down the number 2 in Direwolves. They have a chance now to take down, I don't know where you classify Cringe Society right now, but top 5 Cringe Society. And all that would be left to make a clean sweep would be potentially Grand Zero in the grand finals.
Yeah, and when you win one regional, sometimes there can still be question marks, but if you win 2 tournaments pretty much back to back, that's when you solidify your mark, and that's what the Invisible Ninjas are looking to do right now. And realistically, the only serious complaint that I can have about this team is that if you want to be called the Invisible Ninjas, Spydosh, you need a card that's a little less loud. That lime green definitely does not suit the team theme that you might be going for.
Yeah, but it's fun, and we all love a bit of fun. I think Invisible Ninja are definitely a team that exude that kind of fun atmosphere. Leduc and Walcott always very talkative and quick chat as well. And just enjoy spending their time with each other. We'll see if that does translate to good performances overall. We're heading towards the major in just a week and a half. It is going to be crucial to have that confidence going in this week in the monthly final as well. And to earn that seeding in the monthly final also help get that big performance, because it's a double elim. You're not gonna have too many chances.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty big Tuesday next week. So make sure you remember it. Leduc almost gets an absolute cracker of a shot right there. Jules has to save, but not finished yet. Leduc still trying to pepper that backward, still trying to force the issue. He even goes for the bump, yet somehow Deca can see through that attack and make the save.
Nice. Leduc can't be considered a thorn. He's got to be a full chunk of wood in the defense of Cringe Society, just straight through their hand at the moment, because he has been so frustrating to deal with, constantly turning on the ball, constantly going for demos, and he smokes this one in.
Yeah, again, it's those angles where you never know where Leduc can sometimes come from. 112 straight down. There was no height. It was essentially a spike, and it will go into that back of the net. 1-0 lead for the attack of the Invisible Ninja.
This is starting to get very scary. It's been, 5 goals to 1 at the moment for Invisible Ninja. Spydoge also looking for one more. It's Walcott instead. There was a soft shot saved out by Jules and given a little bit of breathing room, but you don't have any room to breathe against Invisible Ninja. He got bumped just on the way back to from a player on Invisible Ninja just going back to defense.
I think that was Leduc who wants to play a bit more like an angry swan in this situation. As we approach that halfway point, again, the demo's coming through, this time to alleviate some of that attacking pressure from Cringe Society. Ball will bounce around in the middle of the field. Walcott's going to look for that opening, but instead concede that bit of ground to Drippe. Cringe Society might be starting to feel the pressure here. They are going to go a bit more on the attack, but one touch from Leduc completely throws them running back to their own side of the field.
Those are those important touches that Invisible Ninja always seem to be able to make to get out of defense. They always push somebody up as well to make sure the defensive passing is always on form. It's so hard to keep pressure against Invisible Ninja. So hard to keep them pinned into defense for so long. A good demo, but another soft shot, this time from Drippe, leaves them wanting more.
Fortunately for Invisible Ninja, Leduc was able to wrap around. I was a little nervous because it looked like Spydo's actually used all of his boost there on the double commit, and there could have been a chance perhaps for something straight down the middle, yet Leduc fast to the play, able to bail them out, and with that touch as well, we'll throw it back to the Cringe Society side. Now Jules is going to have to try to make something happen, gets it past one, but can't get it past Walcott, as lobber towards the goal will be saved by Drippe.
Spydo's getting into positions where he's just not having to commit too much, not having to go for big dives or use a lot of boost, but still forces Cringe Society players to have to make touches they don't want to take. And that is making it so much more difficult for them to get out of defense. Once again, it's Spydoge there, and they may not even know that Jules has low boost, but they'll see it eventually, get another breakaway. And will they be able to hold on to a 50-second 1-goal lead just by the fact that they are getting these counterattacks over and over again?
I mean, they keep finding those big clears, and every time they clear that ball back to that opposite side of the pitch, Leduc misses the open net, but Spydoge is there. And that is the 2-0 lead that will ice game number 3.
This wasn't important for Leduc to be on target. It was important to keep it away from Deca, who was left stranded alone on the island that is Cringe Society's defense. And listen, there's no paddle, there's no raft, there's no volleyball for Cringe Society. They're looking down a game match point, game number 4 against Invisible Ninja,
who could be looking to make their second big final in a row right now. Just 20 seconds left in this one. As we see a chance perhaps for Cringe Society, it's off the crossbar, but Jules cannot get there in time. That will be that last-ditch effort in this game. Nice pump from Spydoge as well, just to ensure it. Although Jules puts it high, the net was there. Deca can't get it past Spydoge either. Finally, Jules will put it through, but too much time was taken off the clock.
Some would call Invisible Ninja the luckiest team in OCE. I don't know about that. It does eventually go in. But that first one from Jules ricocheted every single corner. The second one by Jules again off the crossbar. Maybe it's not luck. Maybe it's just the shooting accuracy from Jules. And that's an interesting kickoff too that ends up leading to it. Almost going to the ground, but Jules has left room for them to get it. But a difficult position it seems for Deca to be able to turn on that one.
Yeah, awkward positioning. Ninja does hold on. Got interesting. Final 10 seconds, a lot closer than I think anyone was expecting considering how that game was playing out. However, that is twice in a row where it feels like Attack the Invisible Ninja really controlled the tempo and the pace of that game. Granted, Cringe Society did get more opportunities in game number 3 than they did in game number 2. However, the defense from Ninja and their ability to find deep clear after deep clear after deep clear really did feel like they kept Cringe Society from establishing and setting up a sustained attack.
Nah, I mean, it was so difficult for Cringe Society to get out of defense. And that's often what you've said in the past about Invisible Ninja, that they're hoping for that counterattack once the overcommit happens. But Invisible Ninja getting out of defense well, pinning Cringe Society in their own half, and then getting demos once they are pinned in to cause that confusion once the boost is gone.
It's a nice 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 punch coming from this blue side, and off of this kickoff as well. You can sort of add that as an element, although with each kickoff that turns into a threat, I'm leaning more and more to the side that Cringe Society, they just don't have that element of their game really sorted right now.
It's got to be up to Cringe Society to step up in this one, but that is not how you do it. Not unrivaled aggression. There's got to be something there, and Spydoge gets a freebie.
They're stepping up to the high dive, and then there's just jumping off and leaving everything exposed. A very free counterattack right there from Attack of the Invisible Ninja, and they're picking up right where they left off in Game 2 and Game 3. They're finding these opportunities, and they're making sure they work. Cringe Society, they need to pick smarter moments, I feel like, to commit to these attacks, but against a team like Ninja, it's so hard to really recognize when those moments actually are.
I don't even know what's going on half the time. Spydoge is getting demos in defense as Cringe Society had maybe just tried to push forward, see what he could do against Spydoge, but he's there and waiting. Walcott. That's actually dangerous. I think if Decker had just put that on target, it was a goal, but once again, Crossbar, the best friends of Invisible Ninja.
I think I stand by my statement. Crossbar is the best defender in the Oceanic region. Time and time again will come up clutch, as similar to our last game, actually. We're seeing a lot of back and forth right now, although at least in this early minute or so in this game, it does feel like Cringe Society are a bit more willing to challenge in the middle of the field.
Decker has to get this clear out as well, maybe trying to open it up, but a lot of their play that is considered more aggressive, a lot of this passing play from Cringe Society is not happening in that forward half, not in an area that is going to threaten the Invisible Ninja net, and then you'll just see them take a shot. It's usually giving away possession to a team that loves counterattacks. That is as dangerous as it gets. So do some of those misses. I don't know what's happening to Cringe Society right now.
Yeah, it's looking more similar in those situations to game number 2 with the unforced errors and the bit more sloppy play. A little overcommit as well by Ninja right there. Kind of leaves Duck in an awkward situation. That should have been a Rule 1, but Leduc breaks it to try and score. Jules will be able to fall back for the save, but the follow-up shot from Walcott is accurate. Deca, again, though, does enough before he gets demoed. Spydoge, no boost, no power, but still tries to make it work, or does he have boost? Somehow Deca gets behind to get a very nice save.
That was precision play right there from Spydoge, almost managing to sink that in. Fakes out one. There was a demo on the other, and just pinched out at the last moment. Halfway through, Invisible Ninja still being one of the most threatening teams in the Oceanic region at the moment, and they just do not give an inch at this point. It's now getting to a spot where Jules and Trippe both chasing demos, trying to find any way back into the attack, and it's straight back into their defense.
Yeah, the attack's so short-lived, and when they chase those demos and they don't find them, they do leave themselves in tough situations. Nice save by Spydoge. Does enough to stop the next attack as well. Drippe with a chance, but still can't get out of that corner. And Walcott, a delicate touch leads to a breakaway. Can he redirect it to a shot? You know he will. And that is another 2-goal lead for the Ninja.
What a smooth operator here. Walcott takes it past Jules, and that was all was needed. Drippe did not expect Jules to get beaten. And a 2-goal lead means we may see Invisible Ninja once again in the grand final. An update on the other side of the bracket too, with Solicit versus Ground Zero. Currently, Solicit are 2-1, but it looks like Ground Zero are going to take the game 4 and go to a final 5th game.
It would be pretty big for Solicit to make yet another final as well. 2021, teams stepping up at moments when you wouldn't expect them to. Speaking of which, stepping up right now, Spydoge will step up for the shot. Drippe gets in the way. Jules now looks to take it back the distance, but middle of the field, Leduc gets that first touch, gets the second as well. Deca unable to follow that one through, and already it feels like a better attack from Cringe Society as Drippe takes us back within 1.
That's what I like to see. This is the play that has worked so well for Cringe Society in the past, and it's when they look their best. It's actually the first time we've really seen that infield play off the corner today.
It's the first time they've been allowed to really get it to the corner, it feels like. A lot of the challenges are either happening like right in front of that corner or at midfield, and those have been the ones that have almost been going the Ninjas' way. So it's good to see that Cringe Society can get in that comfortable position. They still have that confidence to execute. However, with only a minute left in this game, they're only going to have one, maybe two opportunities to put it through. Here could be one of those right here. Jules drops it down. Psyonix and Walcott each get in the way. Deca can't follow it through, and the defense continues to hold for the Ninjas.
More frustration as well from Cringe Society. They take it out the defense. They'd beaten both, but somehow Spy Doge, more like Spy God in this one, he's recovered. He's kept them in the lead, and once again kept them in a position to get to the grand final. 40 seconds on the clock, and Cringe Society still need a goal even though they're in defense.
And you keep seeing the Ninjas get those big clears with two members of Cringe Society press forward, and it makes it so hard to establish those counter-attacks as they get it back to that orange side. This time, Deca actually has a pretty good spot on that ball. Relatively easy read for Psyonix, and Walcott beats Jules to it with that touch. It gets behind Drippe as well. 10 seconds remaining. Ball on that backboard. Psyonix won't be able to end it just yet Leduc will, and that will be the dagger. Ninja, they're going to be advancing to the final.
Take a bow. That is lights out here for Cringe Society. Knocked out in the top four once again. Not able to make a single grand final run in January. At least not in the weeklies, but you know who has? Invisible Ninja. They have made it. They're following up the likes of Solicit, of Process, of Direwolves, who have all made names this season, this month, and Invisible Ninja backing up their RLCS performance.
Yeah, this is huge for this team right now, and again, the first time it happens, you know, it raises the questions. The second time they make the finals, well, that's when you start answering those questions. And the complete package, like this team, they have a definitive style. Their defense is so suffocating, and yet they also have that creativity on the attack. They find those bumps, those demos, those bizarre angles. It really seems like a complete team right now, and I have to be worried for if you're, you know, whoever comes up against them. Ground Zero, I still would kind of peg as a favorite, but if they're struggling against Solicit, you might have to question what sort of form are they in. This could be another night of the Ninja.
It was very interesting as well. Game one, Cringe Society took it. It looked pretty solid, and it looked like Invisible Ninja weren't playing the way they wanted to. Didn't have the demos. Didn't have that creative offense that's coming out from Spy Doge, and even Leduc being an absolute thorn. But as of game two, they did play the way they want to. They played the way it seems that they want to do in scrims, and the way that has come out after eventually working on months and months and months on being able to perform on the biggest stage. And, well, this isn't as nerve-wracking as those scenarios. It should be easier to execute. Maybe a bit of a different situation here, not nerves, but more just taking time to get into their play style.
I think that's the big key, was finding the ways to get into that play style. As soon as we started seeing those big defensive clears, that's when it looked like the Ninjas were really able to strive. Those strong defensive touches definitely appeared to be the catalyst, at least in game number 2, which set them up. We saw it again a lot in game number 4 as well. So those are going to be the things I'm going to be watching out for, and how their opponents will handle it in that grand final, which is just around the corner at this stage.
Yeah, well, we don't actually know the teams just yet. It has gone to Game 5 in the other semi-final. Currently 1 goal in the lead for Ground Zero, able to hold on to their position. But look at that, Invisible Ninja's already booked their ticket to the grand final, taking down the likes of Direwolves versus Cringe Society. This isn't an easy run. This is the harder side of the bracket, and yet they still make it look easy.
It's the run that they could take down who a lot of people perceive as those top 3 teams, and that's definitely how you make that mark. So I believe we're going to be throwing it to a break at this stage, and when we come back, it will be our grand final match. So we'll figure out who we're going to be against just then. Please stay with us. Be right back in just a few moments.